How good is Factorio? Let's find out. So Factorio is a game where you mostly build a base, create a massive, or start off with a small production and automation, and eventually you start getting multiple bases with trains going between them, transporting resources, trying to maximize the efficiency of your production so that you can go through the tech tree that's not exactly linear to ultimately build a spaceship or a rocket to get off the planet. Now, the main thing you will be doing in Factorio is trying to design your factories and assembly machines and conveyor belts and electricity and energy and all this kind of stuff. You're going to try to maximize the efficiency to produce more and more, starting off with just a few couple, like 10 iron and steel that you'll be producing, and you're like, oh, this is good for now, to the very late game where you're producing thousands of iron and coal and copper and electronics and ammo, and you're redistributing the ammo to all your turrets, having robots do all that work because you don't want to move it by hand. And you look at your base after playing for like 20 to 30 hours, which it will take you about to get to the late game, and you'll be amazed at what you've accomplished. And you'd be like, man, I stayed up all night perfecting my base, and it's mind blowing when you look back and see what you've accomplished. And sometimes like you have these mini goals that you set for yourself, like I'm running out of iron, so I need to go find a new iron patch, but it's too far away to just use conveyor belts, and my robots can't reach that far without putting lots of robot stations for them to go to. So I need to get a train system going, and like, this is a massive undertaking. I need to do that. And luckily there is co-op, so you can always divide up the work with your friends. The multiplayer does require port forwarding. I didn't try because I just used Hamachi, and that solves all those issues. So that's kind of a bummer. If you don't like using Hamachi, then it could be a little technical for you. Could have some issues with that. But even if you don't play co-op, this game I've played about 20 hours just by myself playing this game, and I had a blast. The music, there isn't that really good music. It's just ambient noise and a couple notes being played. But you might want to have a playlist of your music, or maybe a background podcast while you're playing this kind of game. It definitely helps to put some noise in there other than just the game noise. And now the combat, I'll talk about that here. It's not good. Okay, if you thought this game was going to be a huge draw in the combat department, you'd be dead wrong. The combat here is, of course, automated. You don't really aim, you just hold down the spacebar button, which they use to shoot. And whether you're yourself with the gun, or a rocket launcher, or flamethrower, or you're a car or a tank with the machine gun or tank shells, you press spacebar, and whatever's closest to you, it will shoot. You can aim in your tanks and cars to kind of veer towards like a base or a certain creature that you want to kill that's more powerful, so you can kind of do that. But the combat's not a huge strong point for this kind of game, so if that was a huge draw, it's not going to satisfy your need for that. But if you are looking for a challenge, they do have a pretty good options settings before you start up a new world. How big you want the world, how frequently you want resources and enemy bases to spawn, how rich those resources or how many enemies spawn in those bases. And so if you want a challenge or to make it easier for yourself, you can actually switch off whether enemies attack. You still need the enemies there, but they won't attack you because the enemies are useful for a resource that you need late in the game to help you with research. Now I'm going to compare the game to similar games to give you a better understanding, to help you decide even more whether you should get this game or not. I'm going to start with the games that I'm going to compare it to that you won't like. If you didn't like Terraria or Minecraft because they were directionless gaming experiences, where they don't tell you how to play a game and they just drop you in a sandbox and say play, you won't enjoy it. If you enjoyed games like Big Pharma or Space Chem for the draw of designing and perfecting your strategy of overcoming a goal that you set yourself, you'll like this game.